Hey, this is my cat Angus, and he doesn't like to be picked up. Isn't that right? What is up, guys? Welcome back to today's video, and it has been a while. Not to lack of trying, alright? It's been about 2 weeks since I've last uploaded a video. I shouldn't say it's been about 2 weeks. I tried to film 2 videos, alright? I tried to film the new season to Warzone, trying to make a video out of that, playing some Battle Royale solos, looking at the new Battle Pass, looking at the new map and everything like that. But that video, something went wrong, alright? Exporting the movie, exporting the video, it malfunctioned, alright? I don't think I have the clip anymore, but I used to, I don't know. And then I filmed a reaction to TMG's Daddy, which got taken down after about 9 views. So we're back to Mr. Nightmare. I missed the last 2 Mr. Nightmare reactions. Before those 2 videos that fucked up, I missed actually about a week's worth of videos to film. Mr. Nightmare has been going ham, uploading video after video on his channel, and this is the first one I've reacted to in like 3 of his last videos, and he's uploaded like 2 per week around there, I swear to God. But yeah, Mr. Nightmare, true Snapchat horror stories. Welcome back to giving myself terrible social anxiety by watching these videos. There's another MJV Animations. It was like all for the month of April. I might do a reaction to that soon. I am not positive. But yeah, the Snapchat horror stories. This is definitely a volume 2, volume 3 to Mr. Nightmare's specialities. Like I said, he's going to Old Reliables a lot of the time. Recently, he's been going to Old Reliables. But Snapchat horror stories is definitely a banger of a video, and I hope you guys are enjoying the reaction. So yeah, link in the description is my gaming channel. Make sure you go down there, subscribe to that shit. And while we're at it, over 96% of you are not subscribed to this channel. So subscribe to the channel, alright? It is very, very important. And while you're at it, you might as well turn on post notifications, alright? But yeah, Mr. Nightmare, 3 true disturbing Snapchat horror stories. Let's go. It always does that shit. Okay. Classic.
This was not even a month ago.
What?
So all the small details are still fresh in my mind.
That's creepy.
I've been using
That's
dating apps
stories.
on and off for years. I think Tinder sucks, along with its customer service, and I was never a fan of Hinge or OkCupid. I mainly use Bumble. In my Bumble
Isn't that
bio,
for, like,
I have
celebrities
my
or some
height, which is
shit like that? Don't they have
4'11",
one
and make
for
a joke about
celebrities?
being short, and then I have my Instagram and Snap at the bottom. Because of that, I get a decent amount of random follow requests on Instagram. Half the time I don't follow them back. I also get a lot of random people adding me on Snap, probably more on there than on Instagram. I usually only add them back if I recognize their name from a recent conversation on Bumble, or if their Bitmoji looks pretty normal. I know, that sounds weird.
Yeah, it's not a good way to follow.
I deal with a lot of stupid, disgusting boys on Bumble.
Rule to follow.
It's not as bad as Tinder. Still, I'll often have the typical douche frat boy asking if I do hookups or sending any kind of provocative messages. Usually when that happens, I'll mess with them a little bit and then unmatch them. This one time, I guess 3, almost 4 weeks ago, I matched this actually pretty attractive guy. He sent some pickup line that was kind of creative and got my attention. Pretty soon he asked for my Snap. 10 seconds later, he added me after noticing I had my Snap in my bio anyway. So I added him back because why not? He started messaging me on Snap.
What the fuck does that say?
I screenshotted the first 2
Boomerang Jelina? What the fuck is that name? Where'd they get that picture from?
on his Bumble profile and sent it to my girlfriends, mentioning how attractive he is. My friend Gianna replied right away saying it's a catfish. She matched it too. So I decided I'd mess with them a little bit. The things he was messaging me on Snap were slowly progressing to be more sexual.
Hey, what's your
I
cash
started
app?
saying the most unattractive things possible, and they started getting noticeably salty. I said I would be down to come over if they sent me a selfie. He didn't send a selfie, of course. He just replied with a message asking what my address is. I didn't reply at first, asking my girls what I should do next. But then I got a notification that the guy screenshotted my Snapchat profile.
Some shit.
I immediately blocked him and remembered I had my location on the Snap map as public. The problem is the houses in my area are spaced out enough where he could easily identify which house I was in.
Yeah, that's why you keep that location off, bro, seriously.
They tried to calm me down, assuring me there was no chance he'd come to my house. They did a good job.
And then surprise, surprise, I'm in a Mr. Nightmare video. So that's the situation I'm in.
Me realize how ridiculous him coming to my house sounded.
It doesn't sound that ridiculous.
I was watching New Girl on Netflix. The doorbell suddenly rang. I paused the show, and I felt my heart jump into my throat. I was home alone, not expecting my parents or siblings, and it was past 10. I turned off my bedroom light and TV screen. I wanted total darkness to give the illusion no one was home. I suddenly got a notification that someone added me on Snap. The username was "It's me, add me back." I blocked the account immediately. 2 minutes later, another account added me on Snap. This one, the username was "I'm outside your house."
What's your
I
Wi-Fi
screenshotted that
password?
and sent it to my friends and family, now in tears. I blocked it as well. There was a long pause now. I hoped maybe he had given up.
You're dumb.
During that time, I was texting friends and family, but ignoring all their phone calls because I was so paranoid that I'd be heard from outside. Finally, I got another dreaded notification from Snap, saying someone added me. This time the username said, "I'm looking right at you." I turned to the window, naturally. I wish I hadn't. I wish I just ran out of the room and called 911. But I looked and saw him looking into my room, this disgusting, smiling man. I'm sure my face turned completely ghostly white as I looked at him. I ran out of the entire house, screaming at the top of my lungs down the street. Two
Thank
neighbors
God
came
I ran
outside in
track.
response, and I basically ran into one of their arms, crying for help. The neighbor called the police for me, but the man was not found in or around the house. I somehow had to gather the courage to go back into that house and stay there for the night.
What?
I locked myself in my parents' room since it's
saying
the
with
only
the
bedroom
neighbors,
upstairs
Brett.
with a lock.
Fuck
I
that.
prayed I'd be able to fall asleep. I lay awake for seemingly hours though, and eventually I knew for a fact I heard something outside the door, like tiny, soft footsteps causing ever so slight cracks in the wood.
Wait a
I
minute.
sat up and stared at the bottom of the door.
Bro, this ain't even the end of the story. I thought the running to the neighbors would be the end of the story. That's that. Wait for the parents to come home or just chill at the neighbor's house for fucking time being. Why would you go back? I got to gather up the courage, go back, try and fall asleep. I swallowed like 10 melatonin, but I could not fall the fuck asleep. Well, no shit. You just went through a ginormous traumatic experience and you decide to go back to the location. Like, oh yeah, he's probably not there. It's fucking probably late at night. The police officers probably don't even care that much. They're just like looking down, like, yeah, just doing a regular sweep, just looking at looking in rooms and shit. Yeah, he's not in here. Little known that the fucking guy was just standing in the corner, just like not even paying attention. Oh my god. And I don't even understand people. I don't know how
Dreading
she
the
did
lights
that.
outside turning on or someone trying to open the door. I grabbed my cell phone and dialed 911. I immediately said to the operator in a quiet whisper that someone was inside my house and I was alone. But maybe I didn't say it quietly enough, because footsteps on the other side of the door confirmed that I was right. I wasn't just hearing things. The footsteps walked away from the door quickly. I heard them go down the stairs, and eventually I heard the front storm door slam shut. Cops arrived shortly. The same cops
Once you
that
found
had-
out it was catfish,
This time they
Why
wouldn't
don't you just
allow me to
fucking block
sleep there
'em?
the rest of the night. I called my friend Gianna, who was still awake, and she said I could come sleep over for the rest of the weekend. The police escorted
why
me
didn't you
there
try
after I
that the
locked
first
up my
fucking
house.
time? Oh my god,
I'm
evil.
grateful I didn't fall asleep that night, as I wouldn't have heard those tiny footsteps outside my room, and I might not have called the cops in time.
Yeah, you've been fucked. I don't know why you went back in the first place. That's my thing. I don't understand that. You could have just like when you went to your friend's house. Couldn't you have just done
I
that the
hardly
first
use
time?
Snap.
How would
I
you
find
go
it to
back?
be an immature form of communication. I only have one so I can receive snaps from friends and occasionally send people snaps while I'm on vacation somewhere or doing something fun.
Exactly. I don't like Snapchat. It's very immature. This is definitely someone who just like slid into community college. It's like I'm a community college major, right? It's just so immature. It's so high school, but I still have one just so I can snap people just for like shits and giggles. Yeah, come on.
I do not view Snapchat as a viable replacement for simply texting someone.
You fucked
That
up.
being said, when this girl Kate that I hadn't heard from in
Fucking boomer.
months, who I was kind of into, one night randomly snapped me, my face lit up a bit. She snapped me a picture in a dark room, presumably her bedroom, saying, "What are you doing?" I replied with an awkward selfie, saying "watching Friends," made more awkward with the obnoxiously bright flash from my phone. Another reason I hate Snapchat, because I look terrible in selfies. Expecting her to run away after my selfie, she actually snapped back.
Watching
I could
Friends.
barely make
They're
out
all
part of
they're
her
just
face.
sitting in the corner
It
or
was
something.
90% black wherever she was, with a hint of red glow. She said in the snap to come to her place. I was done with the stupid selfies, so I just messaged her back asking where. She sent an address. It was 10 minutes away.
That's just fucking quick like
I was
that.
bored, so why not? I got in my
Because
Chevy and started
you
following
just
towards
said
the address.
you haven't talked to her in so long, and have you never been there before? It's like it's probably I'm just bored. Yeah, why not? Might as well. Like no other further questions. She just says, "Hey, come over." Like, didn't you just listen? What the fuck?
It wasn't that far.
Maybe
I was there quicker than expected,
Maybe that'll save
but
me
I'm also
in
a speedy
in future
driver.
life.
The address was of a house at the edge of the same town I live in. Since I have her number, I just texted her, but with my car idling and her not answering right away, I decided to just call her. The call was answered, but she didn't say anything on the other end. In fact, all I heard was garbled background noise,
First red
likely
flag,
because the
leave.
phone was answered by accident. I said hello a few times, hoping maybe she'd hear me in her back pocket or wherever her phone might have been. I listened for a little while, and eventually I started hearing a man's voice in the background. I screamed hello 2 more times into the phone, and then I distinctly heard in a girl's scream, "Help me," before the call was hung up. I didn't know what to make of all of that. I texted her 1 more time, "What's going on?" Minutes later, I got a text back saying, "Come in, I just opened the front door." I looked at the house, and sure enough, the front door was left open now. At the same time, I got another snap from Kate. I opened it immediately. It was a picture of her legs in a dark room. She was wearing ripped jeans and it looked like she was sitting on the floor. Something wasn't right here. I wasn't going in that house. I called 911 and
Bro,
reported
that's
a
actually
possible
kind of fucked
kidnapping.
up. Yeah, she's definitely like tied up somewheres and some shit like that. As soon as I hear the "help me," bro, I'm calling the cops. I ain't even trying to be the hero. I ain't trying to get no sympathy pussy that night. Alright, I'm in a situation like that. She probably doesn't want to give it up either. So I'm just trying to. I'm calling the cops. I ain't even playing hero. Oh my god, screw that.
Situation.
She's kind of bold for yelling
In the
"help me" too,
meantime,
though.
while
That's
waiting
even
for the
fuck her up
cops,
for
I
that.
texted back the number, saying 1 second I'm on a phone call, then I'll come right in.
There you go. Good. Oh,
There
that's a
was no
smart move.
answer. In fact, the next time I looked at the front door of the house, it was closed now. I was worried that what I was imagining was coming true. The cop car eventually pulled up behind my car, and I pointed them at the house. And 2 more cops got out. A total of 4 cops were knocking at the front door.
Why don't you
A
not
man
just
opened the
bust
door,
in?
and they identified that they received a reported kidnapping in the house. One of the police officers actually let himself into the house past the man. The other 2 followed, while one stood with me by the front porch. Not even 30 seconds later, one of the cops yelled at the other 2 to get him in cuffs, and then a girl's cries for help soon became apparent from the basement. I was in absolute shock when the girl I recognized as Kate was being escorted out of the house in tears. She was a wreck. She looked like she had just experienced a life-changing trauma. I
Probably.
can't even imagine.
That's what that means.
This wasn't even her house. This was apparently the man's house. But the girl's aunt didn't live too far, so she was brought there. Obviously, the man was brought to jail, and I'm sure he's now in prison. That Kate girl really didn't seem to want to talk to me too much beyond thanking me for saving her life a bunch of times. I'm not mad about it, though. I understand.
She's probably not eager to make new
Experiencing
friends.
whatever she went through in that basement is probably something no one wants to think about.
Yeah, probably not. That's what I mean. She probably doesn't want to
Greetings.
give up any.
My name is Terry Carnation of the podcast Dark Air
What
with
the
Terry
hell?
Carnation, reading a story for the aptly named Mr. Nightmare.
Man, I kind of like this dude's voice. Like, I like the collaborations he's doing. He did one collaboration so long ago. It was like 2016 or something. But it was Halloween horror stories, and there was like 10 or 15 of them. Big old compilation. And it was him, and I think it was like, it was this other guy who, Creepypasta or some dude like that. Like, he's a big horror story narrator or something like that. I'm pretty sure he was part of the story as well. And they just went back and forth reading stories. And I'm like, that guy's giving Mr. Nightmare like a run for his money when it comes to voices. He's actually doing...
I am an
good
18-year-old guy
amount
and a
of
freshman in
collaborations.
college. I go to school in my hometown so that, for my first year, I can live with my parents and save money on student housing.
He sounds like he's
I
from
go
the
to Montana
1800s.
State University in Billings, the state's largest city. And no, we don't ride horses to school. We have cars. In school, I still knew and hung out with most of my high school friends that decided to stay in town for school as well. But in my calculus class, I didn't know anyone. I am pretty outgoing and can easily start a conversation with a stranger, but I strangely
Yeah, I
found it
wish.
hard to
That's
make
how it got you on
friends
this
in that
channel, bro.
class. Eventually, I just gave up and went to class to learn rather than make friends. About 2 weeks into school, this guy I hadn't seen in class before started to sit near me. He would always come in around 10 minutes late and would sit as close to me as possible. It weirded me out, so I would sit as far from the door as possible to see if he was actually trying to sit near me. I observed that he would enter class late and walk past at least 10 open chairs just to sit beside, in front of, or behind me. He had this creepy vibe. His hair was always messed up and greasier than a McDonald's burger. His clothes were ripped up and looked ancient, and his hands were always black with dirt. I'm a neat
He's a mechanic, bro.
and always keep myself and my things clean and organized. So just looking at him repulsed me a little bit. He also looked way older than the rest of the class, almost like he was 40. He started to fall behind in class since he never took notes, and he started asking me for help. Even though he looked creepy and gross, he seemed very nice and shy.
I don't think he's a
I
student.
felt bad for him and would explain problems to him when he
Teachers
asked
don't
me
know.
to,
They're just there for a paycheck.
but tried
like
to
it was
keep
college.
it casual and not be overly nice. One day, he asked me for my Snapchat so that he could get help when we weren't in class, since calc was only a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. After hesitation, I gave him my username. Strangely, he wrote it on his arm in huge letters with a king-sized Sharpie. After class, I was getting in my car to go home and saw that he had already added me and Snapchatted me. I groaned and regretted giving him my username.
Dick.
I got in my car and drove the 20 minutes home. By the time I arrived, I had forgotten about it and went about my day. I should mention now, a girl's name added me on Snapchat on this day too, so I added her back even though I didn't know who it was.
Oh, yeah.
Later that night, I got another Snapchat from
Guy's
him.
philosophy.
I opened it. The first one from earlier that day was of his arm with my username on it. The caption had a ton of blushing faces on it, more than I could care to count.
What the fuck?
The second was a shirtless picture of him in a bathroom mirror, but it looked like a gas station bathroom.
What?
It said, "The jeans you wore today were so tight around you, and I couldn't stop staring."
What the
I was
fuck?
immediately weirded out. and
Apparently
considered
I was
blocking.
right.
I thought better of it, though, and wanted to avoid an awkward situation in the next class we had together.
He's
I
not
didn't
gay,
reply to
he's just
him
like, he's just
and
really
went
nice
about
to me,
my
man.
night. I had a few friends over and left my phone sitting on the couch, and one of my friends picked it up and said, "Dude, who's this Jefferson guy? He sent you like 20 snaps." I grabbed my phone and scrolled through my notifications. I clicked on one, and it brought me to the chat section of Snapchat. The messages started off with him asking why I never replied, and got increasingly more angry and aggressive as they went down.
Fuck your balls off.
Then a picture popped up,
Fucking just
and I
insane.
opened it. It was of my front door, and it read, "Come out right now," in all caps, with about 100 exclamation points. I suddenly remembered I had my location on for Snap Maps, and he had tracked me to my house. I immediately screenshotted the picture and the messages.
Let's see it.
One of my friends
Let's see
recommended
it.
calling the police,
Bro,
but I wasn't worried since I didn't think he could get in.
he's still there. What? You can't just ignore it. He's just gonna be there like, hey, open the fuck up. Do you guys hear something? Like, you can't just ignore it like that. But also, if it's just one of him, you said you have your friends over, just go beat the fuck out of him, honestly. Like, tell him to leave him the fuck alone or some shit.
Flash forward 2 weeks,
Show us
and
the
I
pictures,
haven't
though.
seen the guy since.
Show us the proof.
One night I was watching people's stories and came across Jefferson again. I was horrified because I thought I blocked him. I looked at the username and saw that it was the username that I thought was a girl adding me all that time ago. He had made a fake Snapchat, knowing I would probably end up blocking him. His story was even creepier, though. It was a picture of me walking with my friends in a parking lot earlier that day. I was pissed now. I messaged him and asked why he wouldn't just leave me alone, and why he couldn't realize I didn't want to be his friend. He only replied with more pictures of me taken over the last couple of weeks.
What the fuck,
Me
dude?
walking, me driving, me at the movies with my friends, me at a restaurant downtown with a girl I liked.
Bro, that's excessive, honestly. That's excessive. I don't know how creeps do this. I don't know how they find the time and the patience to be able to do this all day. I couldn't fucking do that shit. That'd be so draining and tiring to make sure you follow the right person all the time. Make sure you're taking pictures of them just to creep them out. It seems like a waste of time. It seems like fucking tiring afternoon, to be honest with you.
So completely
I'd rather just
creeped
make a
out
YouTube video or
that I
something.
blocked him again. I wish I had saved the pictures. But
Well, you
after
didn't
I
even show us
press
the other
charges
picture.
for
Let's see
stalking, I imagine the photos will be subpoenaed for evidence.
Hell yes.
I have since turned off my location for Snapchat, and I only add back people that I know.
The ending, people I know. Bro.
Thank you,
Oh.
Mr. Nightmare, for that nightmarish story. Thank you, Tristan, for that indelible nightmare of a story that you've shared with us. Ugh, blood-curdling. Now, if I only knew what Snapchat was.
Ha!
I don't know what that is. Is that...
Ended on a joke. Love that.
Is it a device?
I love this
I'm
guy.
not sure.
This guy's dope.
But I can only imagine. One can only imagine. And
Because
frankly,
he's older. Good joke.
I'm
Good way to
most
end it on a
surprised
joke.
by the fact that someone in Montana is studying calculus. I didn't know they had universities in Montana.
Oh, now he's just sending
Let
shots
alone
off, bro.
courses
Dude's
like
stand-up
calculus.
comedian.
I bet they ride horses to class instead of cars. Oh, Tristan. Stay safe out there, buddy. Stay safe, Tristan, and only add people you know to your chapsnats.
Chapsnats.
Only add friends and not creepy dudes. Full confession, that was me. But I am, however, a little older than 40. So, it was me, Tristan. It was me.
That's incriminating. Better
This
be
is
careful
Terry
with that
Carnation. I host the podcast Dark Air with Terry Carnation. New episodes out every Thursday.
I like that guy. He's kind of funny,
Follow
though.
me
I like
on
how
my
he's telling some jokes
misadventures
at the very
as I
end of it.
host a paranormal radio call-in show featuring, well, me, Terry Carnation. Thank you, Mr. Nightmare. Thank you, Tristan. Thank you, listeners everywhere. Remain open to all possibilities. I couldn't resist doing an evil laugh. I love doing evil laughs. Here's another one.
This guy's actually kind of fucking funny, man.
All right, that's enough.
I wonder if his voice is like... His voice is probably like so tired. His voice is actually kind of soothing. You know, that nice little raspiness to it. That's funny, though. I get that. I kind of like at the end of it, he's telling some jokes, sending some shots off, you know, going with it. I'm actually a big podcast fan. I like Logan Paul's podcast. I was a fan of Views with David Dobrik's podcast. You know, I'm actually a big podcast fan. That's actually something I'd definitely be interested in listening to. Thank God he did the collaboration, alright? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, subscribe. Anything you want to react to, leave it in the comments down below. Like I said, gaming channel, link in the description. I'm live streaming there all the time, filming some gaming videos. Go peep that. Follow me on Instagram while you're at it, at Braden Sanford. Yeah, subscribe. Let's get to 2,100 subs. All right, 2,100 subs. That seems pretty easy, pretty doable. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe. Peace.